Alright boys, welcome back to another video. Swaggy here. You can also find me over at Daily Colts, and today we're going to be previewing the Denver Broncos week. I have been up nonstop just thinking about this game. I've been a Colts fan since I was 5 years old. I have a picture of me as a 5-year-old with a Colts helmet on in a Colts jersey, full on gear. I love this team, and all I've wanted is for them to succeed. And a couple of weeks ago, I thought we were doomed. Anthony Richardson was benched. Joe Flacco was the starter. Shane Steichen had completely lost me. I'm not saying the locker room. I'm not in the locker room. But me as a fan, a diehard fan of this team, he just lost me. Like, I couldn't understand the direction of this team, where it was headed moving forward. But all of a sudden, Richardson ends up coming back as the starter, wins 2 of his next 3 games. The one that he lost was the Detroit Lions, a game in which he played very well. He dealt with a lot of drops, penalties, offensive line down 3 starters, so it made sense why we didn't win that game. But still, the 2 games we won, Richardson led game-winning drives. And I haven't been as happy as I was after beating the Patriots probably since, I would say, not even 2020. Like, we made the playoffs in 2020 with Phillip Rivers, but you probably have to go back to 2018 with Andrew Luck when we made the playoffs and, of course, won a playoff game and had to go up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, it's been that long. I was literally screaming when Richardson scored that 2-point conversion because I understand the opportunity we have. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, quarterbacks like that don't come around very often. And we knew as Colts fans that Richardson, if he hit his potential, could get up to that level. I think if Richardson legitimately hits his full-on potential, like full-on peak, he could be one of the all-time greats to ever play this game. And we've seen flashes of it. We've also seen boneheaded plays, mistakes, missing throws, interceptions, like the Bears game, for example. But Richardson, guys, he settles down against the Patriots, and he ends up picking up 3 first downs on that final drive, on 4th down, of course. The biggest one being Alec Pierce for the touchdown, and then gets the 2-point conversion. He could have handed it off to JT, the best player on our team, but he keeps it, finds a way to score, and now the Colts keep their playoff hopes alive. And I know that was about 2:30 right there. Me not talking about the Broncos, but I just want to make that very clear, guys, that, man, the Colts mean so much to me, and I just can't wait for this game. Win or lose, man, I'm going to ride or die with the Colts. Like, I'll always be a Colts fan. But if we can get this game, I mean, I think it changes everything for our franchise, because if we win this game, we now control our own destiny, which means that if we win our next 3 games after this one, we make the playoffs no matter what happens. We've got Tennessee, New York, Giants, and Jacksonville Jaguars. I know the Jags game scares Colts fans. Sure, deep down inside, it scares me too. But it's not the same Jags team. Like, we're at home against Mac Jones. They're just terrible. I mean, guys, like, they're not the same. Even back in week 5 when they beat us 37-34, they're just not that same team. I mean, they've just completely given up, and we'll be fine. Like, that's why if we beat Denver, man, we are in a great spot, man. We're in a great spot. To that point, if we don't make the playoffs after that, then that's just completely fumbling the bag and an opportunity. Well, let's talk about how to beat the Denver Broncos, what you guys need to know heading into it, what the Colts are certainly going to be looking at. I've watched just about every Broncos game. The only games I haven't watched I've only not watched one Broncos game the entire season, which was the week 1 against Seattle. I've seen every Broncos game since then, so I feel like I know a lot about this team. So let's get into it. So the biggest thing to know, we'll start off with our offense against their defense, because they're known for their defense. They have, in my opinion, the best defense in football. Maybe statistically you guys can pull up another team, but from what I've seen this year, Denver has the best defense in football. Even when they got into a shootout against the Browns on primetime, Jameis Winston threw 3 picks. 2 of them were pick sixes. That was a bad performance. And also, Levi Wallace should not have been out there. He had to step in due to an injury. Riley Moss was out, and Riley Moss should be good to go against the Colts. So they're not giving up 32 probably against us, which is something to note, because our defense might give up 30. So that's when it gets into a sticky situation, is knowing we have to put up points because our defense is terrible. And look at the stat that I found on Twitter from a reliable source, too. Not just some Jim Bob 402, but so our defense is giving up 147 rushing yards per game, which is 31st, and 232.4 passing yards per game, which is 26th. So you have to imagine that the Broncos, whose offense has been rolling, I mean, they dropped, we can't really say they dropped 41 because of the touchdowns, but a Denver offense that's starting to run the ball, starting to get their young playmakers involved. Bo Nix, to me, is the rookie of the year. I think he's just been flat up better than Jaden Daniels this season. The first half of the season was Daniels, but ever since then, halfway through, of course, back end, it's been Bo Nix. So we're going to have to deal with that. Cortland Sutton's gone off this season. He's definitely going to get paid by Denver if he isn't already. I think he's in a contract year. I could be wrong, but Javonte Williams no longer is the guy in the backfield. It's Jaleel McLaughlin, Audric Estime, the rookie. So you can see the young guys are starting to get called on and they're making plays. Denver's offensive line is absolutely elite. First in pass blocking, I think they're seventh in run blocking. So the Colts front is going to be in for a handful, especially because we don't blitz. So are we going to be able to generate pressure without blitzing against one of the better offensive line units in football? Gus Bradley sits in zone coverage, soft zone too, does not send pressure. It's asking a lot out of our secondary to keep up with these guys, and especially because Bo Nix is a smart quarterback. Sure, he's a rookie, but he played, 5 years of college football? So he's seen a lot of defenses, man. He played in the SEC and he played in the Pac-12. So he's seen a lot of defenses, man. I know it's not the NFL, but still. I don't think we're going to be able to fool him with these zone coverages. I think we're going to have to send pressure and just force Bo Nix to be 18 of 35 like he was against the Browns, but this time not for 294 yards and a touchdown. Even though if Bo Nix has those numbers, I think we'll win. If Bo Nix goes 18, 35, 294, a touchdown, 2 interceptions, honestly, I would gladly take that because I don't think Richardson throws 2 pick sixes. Will he throw 2 picks? Maybe. That wouldn't surprise me. But pick sixes, I don't know about that because he's had a week of preparation. Jameis Winston's notorious for turnovers. And Richardson does have more picks than touchdowns this year, but I think he knows the significance of this game and how it could completely change the direction of the Colts moving forward. That's what this game means the most, is if the Colts lose this, the season's over. Like, we're already going to be looking to next season, but if the Colts win this, now all of a sudden we're talking about making the playoffs. And to that point, that would have been the best case scenario for me coming in because there was 2 main keys for me going into the year. The first one was not making the playoffs. The first one was Richardson staying healthy and getting better every week, which he's done. And then the second thing was making the playoffs. So if we do both of those, well, automatically it's an A season. I mean, it's not an A plus because we didn't win the Super Bowl. But if the Colts go 10-7 and make the playoffs, Anthony Richardson ends up finishing the season out. Even if we get blown out by the Bills 35-10, that's still an A season. That's literally the best I could have asked for, man. Just like the Texans last season. They end up going 10-7. They did win a playoff game, but they had to go up against the Browns, not like the Bills or not the Chiefs, right? A team like that. So that's going to be the thing is it's going to come down to our offense and being efficient with the football. If Richardson throws 2 picks, we might be in trouble. He's got to take care of the ball. We've got to get JT going. The offensive line has to play their best game of the year. I know we're banged up, but Denver's front is Super Bowl good. Like, the Broncos' front is probably the best in football. It reminds me a lot of like the Ravens last season when they led the league in sacks. The Broncos lead the league in sacks right now. They score a lot of touchdowns defensively. We don't want to help them out there. But in terms of just this game and beating the Broncos, I think what it's going to come down to, again, is just, do you want it? If the Colts lose this game and they go out there and let's say it's 20-17, it's a low scoring, just dogfight game, Richardson plays his ass off. If we lose that, then okay, fine, that's fine. But we can't go out there and give up 32 points, score 16. We're turning the ball over. We're not stopping the run. We can't run the ball. That's not how the Colts, to me, that's not how I look at the Colts, if that makes any sense, right? Like, I know this team's capable of. They've got a lot of talent. And I was looking at our depth chart like 10 minutes ago, and it's actually crazy to think how many good football players we have. Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr., Josh Downs. Alec Pierce, all of a sudden, we have to consider him a very good football player because what he's done this season, he leads us in yards. I do like Ashton Dulin, but like Adonai Mitchell was seen by a first-round draft pick by many. Can he get going? Can he have his best game of his young NFL career? On the offensive line, Renard Ryman's a Pro Bowler. Quentin Nelson's an All-Pro type of player. Braden Smith has had his moments, man. He's questionable coming into this game. And then in terms of the defense, we've got D-Buck, we've got Grover Stewart, we've got Odengvo's good, Lewis is good, Kwity Paye is good, Zaire Franklin, E.J. Speed has his moments. And then, of course, we've got Jalen Jones is a Pro Bowl, Nick Cross, probably Pro Bowl level, Kenny Moore, the second All-Pro nickel. We've got so many good players. Can we put it on full display in this game? Can we get our best offensive performance and our best defensive performance in one game? The playoffs are on. This is a playoff game. The playoffs are on the line, my ass. This is a playoff game for the Colts. This is the first playoff game the Colts have played. I'll say, well, since week 18 of last year, but you guys get what I mean, right? Like this is a playoff. If we lose, we're done. If we win, we've got a chance to control our own destiny. And if you control your own destiny, that's the best thing, man. It's the best thing because all you gotta do is just win. And you win, you're in. So I'm out. Peace.